Namaskar, I'm Harpreet Kaur and I welcome you all to this special session on digital accessibility initiatives for education of children with special needs. Every child in the country deserves a seat in the classroom, a screen that speaks their language, or a textbook that reads itself aloud. Today, we're going to look at how these digital accessibility initiatives are turning those promises into practice for children with special needs in inclusive schools across the country. To have an insightful discussion on the same, we are joined by our esteemed panelists. They are IS officers of 2024 batch and currently posted as Assistant Secretaries in the Ministry of Education. Let me introduce them to all of you. We have with us Ms. Medha Anand. Ma'am is a civil engineer from HPTI Kanpur. She has worked as IRTS officer originally from UP and born to Rajasthan cadre. Ma'am, namaskar and very warm welcome to you.
Thank you so much.
We are also delighted to have Mr. Aakash Agrawal. Sir has done electrical engineering from YMCA University Faridabad, originally from MP and born to MP cadre. Sir, namaskar and very warm welcome. We also have with us Ms. Mrinalika Rathore. Ma'am has done her post-graduation in political science from Lady Shri Ram College. She has worked in Teach for India and EdTech from Rajasthan and born to Odisha cadre. Ma'am, we're delighted to have you. We also have with us Mr. Shivansh Singh. Sir is an electrical engineer from IIT Roorkee. He has worked in banking sector, originally from UP and born to Maharashtra cadre. Sir, a very warm welcome to you.
Thank you.
And we also have with us Ms. Ritika Verma. Ma'am has done BSc Honours Mathematics from Miranda House, University of Delhi. She is originally from Bihar and born to Karnataka cadre. Ma'am, a very warm welcome to you.
Thank you.
So we are going to have this one interesting discussion with all of you. I have a few set of questions because I want to understand from you about all these initiatives that government has taken and what kind of fruits they're bearing. So let's start with you, Medha ma'am. I want to ask you, what comes to your mind when you hear terms like special needs, disability or divyangata, gender? What is the first thing that strikes you?
I think the first thing that comes to my mind is difference. Okay. So whenever in society, I think इंसानों की ये एक खास tendency है कि जब भी कुछ different दिखता है तो we call it different and special. Sometimes we use words which are not required. True. And probably it is time कि उस विविधता को हम accept करें. If there is any difference, be it on the basis of gender, be it on the basis of any difference that a person has in his or her life, we should accept it as such. तो अगर किसी बच्चे में या किसी वयस्क में there is a difference, so we need to acknowledge it as special, and then that's how the words divyangta and all sound to me.
Absolutely. और हमें कभी नहीं सोचना चाहिए that we only are unique and rest are different. I think सब में अपनी अपनी uniqueness है. Shivansh sir, I want to know from you कि inclusion की जब हम बात करते हैं तो कई बार ऐसा होता है कि एक discussion किया and that's the end. How can we ensure that inclusion it becomes a regular practice rather than just a one-time initiative, program or discussion? ये हमारे एक way of life बन जाना चाहिए. हमारी thinking में, हमारे actions में, हमारे interactions में. What do you think?
As you rightly pointed out, we often discuss about topics as a one-time measure and then people tend to forget about it. For this, I feel that there is a need of regular IEC campaigns to sensitize people about what inclusivity actually means. It is a really broad term, it is not a narrow term, and many people unfortunately are not aware about it in its true sense. So first, I would say that is really very important. Second, I would try to emphasize when it comes to administration, institutionalizing our review mechanisms is really very important. Whenever a new scheme comes in, there is a tendency to take rigorous reviews for a short span of time, but then the priorities may shift. So there is a need to include these parameters which highlight inclusivity into our school checklist, into our regular reviews at each level, starting from block level, moving on to cluster level, moving to district and so on. When they are inculcated into our regular reviews, only then I feel that we can achieve inclusivity in its true sense.
Absolutely right. And I think when we talk about school education or education for that matter, NEP 2020 also talks about inclusivity and equity. So now I have a question for Ritika ma'am. Ma'am, when you talk about equity or inclusivity in education, certainly NEP 2020 is playing a very important role, especially school education ke scenario mein. I want to ask you, according to you, which is that government's initiative which you really appreciate the most, which ensures that there is equitable and inclusive education in schools, or rather promote the same?
So I think equity comes in various shapes. So one would be gender, other would be children with special needs.
Yeah.
So our NEP has a lot of policies, decisions where special needs are taken care of.
Yeah.
So, for example, the Gender Inclusion Fund is one of those initiatives. Second, on a statutory basis, rights of persons with disability now has become more inclusive. From 7 to 21 disabilities are now categorized. Other than that, deriving from the NEP, we have a lot of new policy decisions. For example, the Precious 2.0, where we are screening children with special needs at a initial level, so that later on their learning needs can be taken care of. So like this, we are coming up with a lot of new initiatives derived from the National Education Policy 2020, and that will definitely help in inclusive education.
Right. So NEP 2020 is clearly guiding us in the right direction. So Akash sir, मैं आपसे जानना चाहती हूँ that there has been so many initiatives, and one of them is Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan. It's promoting equitable and inclusive education in schools across the country. How effective is it, according to you?
Well, I believe that we certainly have taken a great leap ahead when it comes to Samagra Shiksha. We talk about Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalayas for women. When we talk of children with special needs, as my colleague rightly pointed out, we have the Prashast app where we are screening the children with special needs at a very early stage so that learning can accordingly be provided to these children. When we talk of infrastructure, we have ramps which are being built. We have taken initiatives for digital education through PM eVidya Channel 31 as well as Diksha portal. So I think we are providing various opportunities to children for a very holistic and inclusive and equitable knowledge base.
That's right. And Mrinalika ma'am, I want to ask you something really personal. These are about the personal experiences. हम inclusion की बात करते हैं. We come across such people, people with special needs, या दिव्यांगजन जिन्हें हम कहते हैं. Can you share your own experiences with such persons, आपके childhood में, आपके school में, or later in your life, where you have confronted such people and you probably understood their needs or you didn't understand something? कोई भी आपका ऐसा personal experience?
Sure. Briefly, I'll just share two examples which I personally came across. So one of them was during my college days. In college, because everybody studies together.
Yes.
So there was a friend of mine whose roommate was visually impaired.
Okay.
And I used to volunteer with an organization called Sandrishti, which used to help and support such people.
जी.
For the first time in my life, I came across somebody. More than just seeing her as visually impaired, I realized I used to read for her, write for her. But while talking to her, I realized they're also people. They're also person of their own. They have a story of their own, which often we fail to realize and acknowledge just because we are seeing them as a person. So that is one personal experience that I had, and another as a teacher, because earlier I was in education sector before being in service. So there was a child who was diagnosed with a condition called ADHD.
Okay.
So he had attention deficit problem. He would come, hold my hand while I'm teaching, get very aggressive, fidgety. But as a system, I was not, as a teacher within the system, equipped to deal with such students in a classroom. So my experience taught me that such students are not the culprits. Actually, it's the system which needs to become more and more inclusive to accommodate them.
That's very well said, because we all need to be aware of thing called inclusion, because हमें पता ही नहीं होता है where these people are coming from. They're just like us. Like if there is somebody who's visually impaired, आपको नहीं पता होगा उसे आपको कैसे support करना है. आप उसको अपना हाथ दे देंगे. Ideally उसको आपको अपनी elbow देनी चाहिए. But ये चीज़ हम कब सीखेंगे, कैसे सीखेंगे, जब हमें education के through इनके बारे में पता चलेगा. So yes, we all have such personal experiences in our life. Now शिवांश सर, मैं आपसे जानना चाहूँगी कि गवर्नमेंट बहुत सारी पॉलिसीज़ बनाती है टू इंश्योर दैट इंक्लूजन इज एक्चुअली इम्प्लीमेंटेड इन द क्लासरूम्स अक्रॉस द कंट्री. आई वांट टू आस्क यू कि ये इंश्योर कैसे किया जाता है कि वो पॉलिसीज़ ग्रास रूट लेवल तक इम्प्लीमेंट हो रही हैं और उनके आउटकम्स हमें नज़र आ रहे हैं.
In this regard, I feel the role of community ownership is really very important.
Okay.
When the initiatives or the monitoring is directly done by people themselves, then I think the initiative leads to the most fruitful results. Moreover, I think in this regard, decentralized accountability is really very important.
Yeah.
Because sitting at state level or at national level, one cannot review each and every school or each and every block. When the reviews or the monitoring starts at the very ground level, starting from clusters, then I feel you can make a real difference. Moreover, in this regard, school management committees also become really very important because the parents of students becomes actual stakeholders in those committees.
Right.
They are democratically elected organizations where parents review the performance of children in schools, and they also address the inclusivity need of children. And recently, Honorable Education Minister has also released the comprehensive and holistic guidelines for SMCs. So I think they'll play a really very crucial role in ensuring inclusivity in our schools.
And the effective implementation. I think there is a dire need to delegate the responsibility at the ground level and also to decentralize certain things. मृणालिका मैम, मैं आपसे जानना चाहूँगी because when we talk about inclusion, education के बारे में हम बहुत बात कर रहे हैं, अभी भी कर ही रहे हैं. पर्सनल स्पेस पे भी हम अगर कभी हमारे सिबलिंग्स या हमारे नेबर्स आसपास ऐसे लोग हैं तो भी हमें सीखने को मिल जाता है कि कैसे डील करना है, उनकी नीड्स को कैसे समझना है. बट व्हेन इट कम्स टू प्रोफेशनल अरीना, जहाँ पर उनके लिए आना भी अपने आप में एक चैलेंज होता है, उसके बाद उनको अकोमोडेट करना, उनकी नीड्स को समझना, एक एनवायरनमेंट उनके लिए क्रिएट करना, हाउ डू यू एड्रेस सच स्पेशल नीड्स देयर इन द प्रोफेशनल डोमेन?
Yeah. So we have to start with our own office, I would say.
Yeah.
How can we make it more accessible for them?
Yes.
For instance, a lot of our buildings every day in villages, gram panchayats, are constructing their own offices, their own buildings. Is there a ramp inside? Can we just have an eye that whether that place is accessible?
Okay.
If you are doing a grievance redressal on every weekday, are we doing it on the ground floor or are we doing it on the first floor? The mindset shift has to happen. If I am having a nameplate, is it just visible or is it also supportive of people who are colorblind or probably cannot read? So is it braille enabled? Those things. So the system has to become more inclusive of people coming into the system. That is how we can do. Plus, capacity building is very important. Of the staff inside the office, of the person leading the office, as well as the people who are coming to the office. That there are people who might not be same as you, but they need your support as a community. So can we build that capacity in our people? That is the second thing that we should do.
That's right. Shivansh sir, I want to ask you one more question as an add-on to what I asked. आपने बताया that how we can make sure that policies can be implemented effectively, especially in rural areas. जहाँ पर जब हम क्लासरूम्स की बात करते हैं, स्कूल की बात करते हैं, इनफैक्ट रिसोर्सेज बहुत लिमिटेड है, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इज नॉट एडिक्वेट. देयर हाउ कैन वी इंश्योर द सेम?
So I know there are structural constraints when it comes to rural areas, but they have a big blessing in the form that every person knows everything about their village, which sometimes is missing in an urban setting.
Right.
When you sit in a gram panchayat, everyone is vibrantly participating there, and everybody knows what are the structural constraints, what are the issues the children are facing in that particular village. So if Gram Panchayat effectively participates in the governance of the school, and if they collaborate with the SMCs, then I think they can take right steps in the right direction.
That's right.
Because government is anyway supporting schools when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to meals of students, their books, everything. It's just that if it is raised by the right authority at the right level, those things will definitely be taken care of.
That's right. Ritika ma'am, we are living in the digital age and space, and this is digital India. Everything is digital, almost. I want to ask you, what does inclusive education look like when it comes to the era of digital learning? क्या यहाँ पर भी हम उन सब लोगों की, especially children with special needs, इनकी needs को cater कर पा रहे हैं? Digitally हमारे पास ऐसे resources हैं?
I think digital initiatives are a great positive reinforcement of the already existing systems that we have.
Okay.
So when we talk about AI, for example, when we bring AI into learning, so there is a possibility of hyper-personalized curriculums that we can build.
Okay.
Now, when we are able to do that, we are able to cater to one particular person with the special need that they have. So children can be catered to from a very young age towards even their higher education.
That's right.
So this is one way of doing it. Now, with respect to equitability, we need to use AI and other digital initiatives, and we have been doing it. For example, the Indian Sign Language is being used to portray the books that we already have in text format. So these are many initiatives that are being taken up. I think AI and digital initiatives are a tool that we really need to use further, so that that equitability gap is no further increased, because there is a chance that it might turn into one new sort of an inequitable world. So that gap, that adaptive learning needs to be done further.
That's right.
Just add
Yeah,
to
sure.
what Ritika said. Actually, in this regard, I feel that Vidyanjali is a really very good initiative,
Okay.
which connects civil society and NGOs directly with the government schools.
Okay.
So, wherein the government schools can pitch in their requirements, which may pertain to inclusivity, which may pertain to other parameters as well. And the willing NGOs or civil societies can come up with solutions, can come up with the right training, workshops, or even assets to enrich the experience of students in those schools.
That's amazing. In fact, we need more initiatives like these because we want to reach the nook and corner of the country when it comes to making the education inclusive and accessible. Akash sir, here in CIT and NCERT, we also taking a lot of initiatives to make our classrooms, our video classrooms really accessible. One such initiative is having Indian Sign Language interpreters. Another is having India's first and only totally dedicated channel to Indian Sign Language. That's our PME Vidya channel number 31. So I want to ask you that how do you think that making use of Indian Sign Language in our classrooms, in our various summer camps that are organized by the government can help to bring a drastic change in inclusive education?
Well, with the availability of these options, as National Education Policy also points out that Indian Sign Language is one of the important mediums through which we can achieve inclusivity. So when we are dedicating channels for Indian Sign Language, we are organizing camps, we enable the people with hearing and speech impairments that they have access to resources where they can access reading materials. With this, what happens is their chances of employability increase, because we have to transform from initiatives to outcomes. Merely having initiatives is not enough. When they will have access to resources, they'll read those resources, and then their employability increases when they become part of the society, when the person sitting beside them feel that they are like them only. When we transform peer pressure into peer pleasure, these will be the things that ultimately will bring the change on the ground level.
That's very well said. And now, Medha ma'am, I want to ask you that everybody has their, has their opinion on making education inclusive, on making it accessible. It's not just about building a ramp, it's beyond that. It's not just about catering to the needs of children with special needs, it's beyond the same as well. So what, according to you, can make education more inclusive and equitable? Any particular strategy that you think can be implemented?
Yes. As my esteemed colleagues have already pointed out, that we have a lot of government initiatives from the Prashast app, from National Education Policy, and so many things that are already being done by the government. But it is said that it takes a village to raise a kid. So the community now has to rope in, and they need to be made aware. They're already being made aware, but as a community, we need to rise up to the opportunity. We need to be very, very concerned about how we treat a kid with a special ability, not just in the formative years, but also afterwards. If we train the child based on the potentials he or she has, it will be better for the child to survive this probably cruel world. So rather than expecting the kid to excel in class 10th or class 12th, what we really need to do is teach that person basic life skills, how to count money, how to maybe dress up himself or herself. So if the community comes in, then definitely there is a chance that we will become a better world, and the difference that is there, we would be able to acknowledge it better.
So that was a very interesting point, Medha ma'am. And I think before we part ways on a very happy note, we would require a message from you, because it's such a special session, and that message needs to be really loud, and it should reach the masses, that how we all can make education really accessible and inclusive, not just at the educational level, personal level, but also at the professional level, in all the domains possible. So let's start from you then.
I think community participation, along with a concept like a social audit, wherein, as my colleague rightly pointed out, that parents should become the part of the process. Apart from them, there'll be people who might not be directly involved, but they have a responsibility to share, and they can definitely ensure that if we have a special person around us, we can be more empathetic, we can understand the special needs that that person requires, and thereby become that person should become a part of our society, actually weave into the society more than what we are doing right now. तो आई थिंक समय की मांग ये है कि हम सबको साथ आने की ज़रूरत है, जहाँ गवर्नमेंट एक पार्ट अपना प्ले कर रही है बाय इम्प्लीमेंटिंग एंड कमिंग आउट विद नई पॉलिसीज़. एज सिटीजन्स ऑफ दिस कंट्री हमारा काम है कि हम उसमें और इन्वॉल्व रहें, हम और एम्पैथी अपने दैनिक जीवन में लाएं. तो आई थिंक उससे एक जो भारत आएगा, जो विकसित होगा, वो ना सिर्फ डेवलप्ड होगा बट ऑल्सो एक विविधता का प्रतीक होगा.
सो एम्पैथी इज द की वर्ड हियर. इनफैक्ट मैं आप सभी के मैसेजेस से एक की वर्ड भी ले सकती हूँ. सर,
जब हम बात करते हैं विकसित भारत की 2047 तक, तो हमारा देश इतना बड़ा और डाइवर्स देश है, तो अगर हमको सबको साथ लेके चलना है, सबका साथ सबका विकास का जो हमारा मैसेज है, तो सबका साथ सबके विकास में हमको सबका प्रयास भी लगेगा.
बिल्कुल.
तो चाहे वो पेरेंट्स हों, चाहे आपके क्लास में पढ़ने वाला बच्चा हो, सोसाइटी हो, क्योंकि अभी हम जिस लेवल पे ऑपरेट कर रहे हैं, आई थिंक हमको हर स्तर पे काम करने की आवश्यकता है, क्योंकि हमको सिर्फ एक पिटी की भावना से नहीं देखना है किसी को, उनको हमारे को अपने बराबर बनाना है, अपने बराबर लाना है. और जब तक सोसाइटी उनको अपना पार्ट नहीं मानेगी, जब तक इकोनॉमिकली वो एम्पावर्ड नहीं होंगे, जब तक वो हमेशा एक्सटर्नल एड पे डिपेंडेंट होंगे, तब तक उनका एक्चुअल विकास नहीं हो सकता. तो हमको हर स्तर पे काम करने की ज़रूरत है, और ये एक दैनिक दिनचर्या में हमको लाना पड़ेगा. ये जैसा आपने अपने ही प्रश्न में बोला था कि ये एक वन टाइम एफर्ट नहीं है, ये कंसिस्टेंट वे ऑफ लाइफ है जिसमें हमको बदलाव करने की आवश्यकता है.
सो प्रोमिसेस को प्रैक्टिस में कन्वर्ट करना है और कॉन्स्टेंट एक्शंस में कन्वर्ट करना है. तो मेरे लिए आपका कीवर्ड है डाइवर्सिटी हियर. हाँ जी मैम.
We have to internalize that every child deserves an excellent education.
That's right.
And when we say every, it means every, including all the children जो शायद हमें अलग लगते हैं, but they are not actually different from us. They are special. So we need to have everybody included. And everybody has to make efforts also, not just teachers, parents also, government servants also, media also, everybody. So, and inclusivity, like you rightly said, it's not just about disabilities, it's about difference.
Yes.
It's about difference of language also.
Yes, absolutely.
So, for instance, all of us are IAS officer trainees.
Why don't you use some other language? अभी English, Hindi तो हो गया.
Yes, that's what I was coming at. क्योंकि we are getting trained in different states.
Yeah.
So as bureaucrats, हमको भी वहाँ की भाषा सीखनी होती है, because there is need for inclusive governance. So maybe because we are also learning, we will also try speaking in the language, the cadre which is allocated to us. So my ମୋର cadre ଓଡ଼ିଶା, तो ମୁଁ ଆପଣଙ୍କର ସାଙ୍ଗେ ଓଡ଼ିଶାରେ କଥା କରିବି. ମୁଁ ଏଇଟା କହିବାକୁ ଚାହୁଁଛି कि ଆମର जे ପିଲାମାନେ ଅଛନ୍ତି ସେ ବେଶୀ ଟ୍ୟାଲେଣ୍ଟେଡ୍ ପିଲାମାନେ, तो आमर दायित्व ହେଇଛି कि ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ନେଇକି ଆମେ ସାଙ୍ଗେ ସାଙ୍ଗେ ଚାଲିବୁ. सो आपण मानंकु मोर गोटे रिक्वेस्ट अच्छी कि आपण माने जेमिति टीचर माने एफर्ट्स करूछंती से भलिया पेरेंट्स भी एफर्ट करंतु, चेष्टा करंतु, पिल्ला माने चेष्टा करंतु. एमिति भावंतु नाही कि आपण माने अलगा, आपण माने भी अमर ही पार्ट अच्छंती सोसाइटी रो. तो आपण माने भी निज चेष्टा करंतु, निजर डेवलपमेंट बेटरमेंट पाई. इतिकी कही कि मोर कथा शेष करूची.
So आपे संगे संगे चालिबू. So I could understand what you were saying कि actually में हम सबको एक साथ करना है.
Yes.
और सबको एक साथ चलना है. It's not like कि कुछ लोगों की responsibility है, parents, society, और ये जब साथ चलेंगे तभी हम inclusion.
So what I was trying to say is that like we made effort to learn the language.
Yes.
Right, because we have to be inclusive.
True.
Similarly, everyone has to make the effort.
So inclusion is the keyword because everybody wants to
effort
be
is the
included.
keyword.
Yes.
Effort is the keyword.
So okay, so you want effort? Okay, let's keep the effort as the keyword. Sir.
I would just like to say that it can never work in silos. When we talk about community, we usually think about citizens in general.
That's right.
But it is not just limited to citizens. all the participants of community, be it in any manner, need to come together to achieve this goal of inclusive education. We need to be compassionate about the differences. As my colleague has rightly pointed out, the umbrella is very broad. It is not only limited to, let's say, child with special needs. It can be in any form. Like she rightly pointed out, I'm born on Maharashtra cadre. So since past 1 year, I have been learning Marathi. In that sense, I am different, and for the past 1 year, I was working on my language.
That's right.
So, but I would say that my colleagues there really lended me a helping hand, and they enabled me to learn the language.
Yeah.
So that I feel is inclusivity in its truest sense. If you are different in any manner, it is the responsibility of the people around you to uplift you.
Okay.
So I want to say just one line Marathi, की आम्हाला सर्वांना सोबतच घेऊन पुढे जायचं आहे.
Please translate it for us.
This means that हमको सबको साथ में लेके आगे बढ़ना है.
That's right. So what should be the keyword? Compassion or community participation?
Compassion, I think, should be the keyword. Compassionate towards any kind of difference and how you can integrate it within your society.
That's lovely. Ma'am.
ನಾನು ಕೂಡ ಕನ್ನಡ ಕಲಿತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಏನಾದರೂ ತಪ್ಪು ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಕ್ಷಮಿಸಿ. ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣದ ಅರ್ಥ ಏನು? ಅದು ಮುಖ್ಯ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ. ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಜುಕೇಷನ್? ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಜುಕೇಷನ್? ಅದು ಅಷ್ಟು ಸಾಕ್ಷರತಾ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ಒಂದು ಹೊಲಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಡೆಫಿನಿಷನ್ಗೆ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬಹುದು. When we see at a holistic definition of education, it is not just literacy.
That's right.
It is to do justice to one's own capabilities. ಅವರ ಕೇಪಬಿಲಿಟೀಸ್ ಏನಾದರೂ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಒಂದು ಜಸ್ಟಿಸ್ ಥರದ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಒನ್ಸ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಏಬಲ್ ಟು ಡೂ ದ್ಯಾಟ್, then we create individuals who are good citizens of the society A, but B, people who are able to sustain their own livelihoods. They're not dependent on anyone else. So the issue with exclusivity is that people feel excluded from the society. That is what in every field. So when we are bringing about inclusion, we need to make them more capable in living in their own skin.
Absolutely.
And also ensures that new kind of exclusivities are not created. For example, we talked about AI and we talked about digital initiatives. That digital divide, that AI divide should not be something that we are creating further. So ಅದೇ ಎರಡು ಮಾತು ಹೇಳಿ ನನ್ನ ಮಾತು ಮುಗಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. Thank you.
Just translate this line. It's very interesting. You said something special.
I will say these 2 words and I'll end my whatever I've been saying.
So that's lovely. So you tell me, what should be the key word from your message?
I think giving justice to one's capabilities.
So whether it's justice, whether it's empowerment, whether it's accessibility, inclusivity, equity. So in the end, we can safely say that inclusion is not any chapter that we teach. It's the way we learn. And when we talk about initiatives like Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas or Digital Saath, Viksit Bharat at 2047, we need to understand that digital access is not the finish line for inclusion. It is actually the starting point. So once again, I thank all my distinguished speakers who are the future of the country for sharing their wonderful views and for contributing so immensely to this discussion. Thank you so much.